Alright, hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we're going to be creating this cool 3D chrome effect that you could use for all of your icons, logos or illustrations. For this video I already created the effect, but I want to walk you on the step by step so you can have the same effect. First of all, let's disable every single layers that we have. First step, you want to create a black background with a solid color, and I always tend to delete the masks that I'm not going to be using, so I delete the masks. I delete the masks for the background, make it black, and block it since I'm not going to be moving it or using it anymore. Create rectangle and make it a smart object. Once you make it a smart object, just double click on the layer. That will take you to the smart object. Over here, just you can copy paste or drag the logo that you want to be using. In this case, I want to use the Atari logo. Save it. You can go to FX, go to bevel and emboss, and these are the measurements that I use. Style to emboss, technique smooth, depth 304%, direction up, size 24, soften to 0. On the gloss contour I use this S shape, highlight mode to linear dodge, white 100%, shadow mode, color burn black to 66%, contour to this mountain shape to 100% with an inner glow. As you can see over here, it won't give you so much detail. Afterwards it will. On the inner glow, these are my settings: blend to darker color, opacity to 83%, source to edge, show 13%, size 57%, contour this kind of M shape to range 55%, color overlay to 50% black, linear dodge 100%, and also feel free to stop if you want to copy my exact settings and use it on your own. Hit OK. The first one is going to be 100 opacity, 100 fill. After the first one, we want to multiply it 5 more times for a total of 6 layers. Go to the second one and only the fill, bring it down to 0%. If you bring it up to 100%, that means that every single element that we add to the second layer will pass to the first one. But if we bring it down to 0%, it will bring the color down, but all of the effects will pass through. As you can see, go to the second one, add bevel. These are my settings. Add some contour, add the end shape 0%. So you can see it's not a lot, but it's some sort of detail. This is my stroke settings, and for this one I won't be using any more effects. So hit OK. Same with the third one, 0% fill. Let's go to bevel and emboss. These are my settings. For this one I wanted to change the style to auto bevel, smooth, depth 39, direction down, size 16 pixels, soften to change it to 1 pixel, and on the shading, instead of the angle, leave it as it is. Altitude, I put 53. On the gloss contour, I wanted to use this one, the one that is just a little bent. On the highlight mode, change it to linear dodge with this turquoise color, and this is the exact color that I use. If you want to copy it, hit OK. On the shadow mode, change it to color burn to 66%, and this is I call it the mustard color because it looks like mustard. This is the exact color that I use. Hit OK. Add some stroke. It's not a lot, but it brings some details. The size I used was 4 pixels. Positions to inside. Blend mode, linear dodge to 100%. Color white, same with inner glow. It's not a lot of detail, but if on the end result you'll see the difference. Over here I use blend mode to linear burn to 100%, zero noise, source to edge, choke to 3%, size 29 pixels, contour and shape and range 33%. Let's go to the fourth layer, same, fill to 0%. This is the exact settings that I use. Over here I changed the auto bevel, technique to smooth, depth 39%, direction down. You can play around with the direction if you like. size 16 pixels, soften 1%, gloss contour like this scale, but you can also play around if you want and see which one works better for you. Highlight linear dot with the mustard, opacity to 100%, shadow mode, change it to linear dodge to 100%, and this red color, and this is the exact color that I use for the red. If you want to copy it, add some contour to this. I call it the zigzag shape to 100%. You can bring it down if you want. If not, just leave it at 100% and also play around with it. In this case, it don't bring a lot of detail right now on the end result, and you can see it here, like right here you just change here, over here it changed down here. It's not a lot, but on the end result it brings it to life. Add a stroke to 4 pixels, inside linear dodge 100% white. Add some inner glow. I use blend to normal, opacity 100%. Over here, instead of edge, I use center, so you can see the difference that it gives. Shock to 28%. You can play around if you like. If not, just leave it at 28. Size, I use 59, and you can play around and see which one works best for you. I'll bring it back to 59. Contour, I use the bent shape. Feel free to experiment with whichever works best for you, but I kind of like that one too. I'll bring it back to the bent shape. The range 33%, and color overlay is not a lot, but you can see here on the corner it brings some color. I use 50% black, 50% white. Blend mode to lighter color, opacity 100%. Fifth layer, as you can see over here, is where we bring a lot of detail. Press bevel, style emboss, smooth to 1000 depth. You can see, bring it over here, your shapes start to distort. You can see we're working with every single percentage that we got. Instead of down, we want to use up over here. Size to 79%, but see which one works best for you. 79. Over here we don't touch this, but feel free to do so if you want, if it works best for you. I'll leave it how it was. Over here I'll leave it as is. With the gloss contour, I'm using the heel shape, but feel free to play around if you want, see which one works best for you. Either one of these ones brings the brightness to life, but I'll keep the heel shape. And let's bring back color combination, the turquoise and mustard to linear dodge. On the highlight mode, 14%, shadow mode, linear dodge, and opacity 85%. Add some contour. As you can see, it's not a lot of detail, but as soon as you add some contour, it brings a lot of visual effects. With the bend shape to 100%, to the inner glow, as you can see, it's just very minimal. It gives some detail. So you can see every single color combination that we've been using is over here. As you can see, there's a little bit of turquoise, a little bit of red, some of the mustard color that we've been using, the bevel over here, contour, stroke. Every single detail that we've been using for these effects is over here. It's very minimal, but once we start playing with the colors, you can see every single detail. For the inner glow here, normal to 100%, source to center. If you press edge over here, you see that you lose all of this detail that is over here. Let's bring it back to center. Shock to 25%, but you feel free to play around with this. I'll leave it 5. The size, you can see over here, it's the same line. It was 125. On the contour, I'm using the bend, hit OK. And the last one, which is the one that will bring the brightness to life. See, bevel, I'm using emboss to smooth. Depth, over here we want to use 594% to up. You can play around if you want it down or up. In my personal preference, I want to use up. Size 68 pixels, soften to 1. The gloss contour, I use this heel shape, but feel free to play around with it to whichever works best for you. And once we add all the colors, we can come back here and play around and see how it looks like. But for now, I want to use the heel shape. On highlight mode, I use linear dodge, 78%, shadow mode, linear dodge to 79%. Colors are gonna be the mustard color, the yellowish, and soft red. Contour, I use the pen, but feel free to change it if you want. Inner shadow, this one I use inner shadows. As you can see, it's very minimal, like right here. Let's turn it off and on, and you can see it gives like a little bit of shadow, like neon effect to that corner. I left it on normal, opacity 100%, distance 0, shock 0, size 16, but feel free to play around whichever you want. But for now, I want to use 16%. On the contour, I use the S shape and 0 noise. Hit OK. Just to put a cherry on top, I added a new layer. For this one, I use some motion blur, and it'll give some sort of blurriness to the logo. Feel free to add that if you want and play around with it and see what works best for you. After that, I combine all of these layers into a group. As you can see, if I turn it off, there's nothing. If I turn it on, it's just the logo. And then I add just a normal black and white gradient map, which obviously, and change it to linear burn. And obviously, since it's black and white, every single area that is on the dark side of the gradient, it will be darker. The white area here will be brighter. Then let me very close. As you can see, there's nothing over here. I added some sort of noise, and the way that you can do the noise effect, just add a new layer, press Control Backspace. Well, let's do it here, like a whole new layer, Control Backspace. It will bring a full white layer. Let's go to filter, noise, add noise. As you can see, there's some sort of noise here. You can either use Gaussian or uniform, but I want to use Gaussian. If you don't want your noise to be black, hit Control Shift I, that'll invert it and bring it to screen. And because you're working only on this layer, it will only affect your logo or your art. Let's get rid of that. So that is exactly what I did with this one. As you can see, I use divided, but if I use normal, bring it down to divide, and this is my noise effect. If you zoom out, you can't really tell that there's noise, but I feel like it brings some sort of like vintage effect to the icon. I added some clouds effect texture. As you can see, it's not very visible, but it's very subtle. And for this one, I use color dodge, opacity to 11%. As you can see, if I bring it up, you can start seeing the clouds effect here. Same if you don't know how to make the cloud effect, just bring a new layer, go to filter, render, clouds, and that's how you got it. Since I use color, for this one I use color dodge, like this one, and move it to 11%, and that's how I got that effect. Select this one. This is exactly how I use the cloud texture. Once you decide which effect you like the most and however settings you want, I added some curves. So you can go here. I added some RGB effects. If you want to do it separately, just over here, scroll to the red, play around with the reds, and that will give some sort of details to your shadows. Keep playing around. Once you know what you want, you can go to the greens and play with the greens as well, and then finally with the blues. Once you're done and settled with this one, add some hue saturation. That will bring very neon-ish effects. Thing about here is that you can change over here the hues, and it will change the color of your entire icon. You can play with the saturation and the lightness. Let's say I want it like this blue maybe, and then I make another group over here, but this group is connected with the art, or let's say like the logo is within the color group. As you can see, once I disable it, it will disable every single layer that I have. Then I added a new gradient map. This one, as you can see, is like kind of tech color, but this one you could change it. But if you really like this gradient map, just add a new layer with a new hue saturation, and this one you can actually edit it, as you can see. So this is exactly how I created these effects. And if you want to put a cherry on top, you can add some glare. Disable the glare. You can come back to your icon and see which label you want to play with. This one, it has inner glow. You can start playing with the inner glow here and see what works better for you. And since all of this is smart objects, and they are all duplicated from the main one. That means that once you edit the first one, let's go back here, enable this PlayStation icon that I saved, center, press save, come back, and as you can see, every single layer is linked with the main one, so you don't have to keep editing on top. Even the motion is added here, and you can come back anytime that you want and change the color. You can even change this one as well. This one, it won't give so much different. Let's say that you save another one. Let's use maybe Adidas, and there you go. And if you don't like that, you can go to the very first gradient map, press G, and see how much color you want. It's perfect for me. You can change the color palette if you want. There you go. You can always change the colors here if you want also. And yeah, let's change the color, maybe this one. 3D chrome effect for logos, icons, and or your illustrations. Feel free to copy all of my settings, use it as your own, and make some very cool icons designs with this effect. It also worked with typography. This is it, guys. If this video was helpful for you, please consider like and subscribe. It will help me a lot. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.